Welcome back. We're talking about the WWE 2012 Survivor Series pay-per-view, and we're going to review every match as always, starting off with the YouTube pre-show, 3MB against Team Cobro. If you remember last week, this should have been Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, and if you remember the week beforehand, it should have been Team Cobro. So they had this total inability to figure out what match they were doing as far as this pay-per-view goes. I've never seen a pay-per-view out of my memory that changed as often as this did, and that drove me nuts.
Oh yeah, going into it, it was extremely confusing. I mean, when I first turned on the pre-show and I saw Zack Ryder versus Santino, I was confused out of my mind because originally I thought they changed it to Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd, and that confused me as well because they said they were going to put them in a separate match at the pay-per-view. So, and I guess it was the best thing to go with Ryder and Santino against 3MB. But even still, I mean, it was really confusing booking, and they really should have done a better job of transferring that over social networking and that because a lot of people are confused as far as that goes.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of as why they did it is they probably figured. Well, we'll talk about this when we come to the bonus elimination match, but I guess that they figured if either tag team was going to look good, they would rather have Gabriel and Kid look good instead of Cobro because they can take a loss and people will still cheer them. But you kind of take away a lot of the steam when you give a loss to Gabriel and Kid.
Mhm.
And if the whole point of this is supposed to be that 3 and B is going to win a match, then you got to figure out which one you want to take the loss. But the match itself, I have this standing inability to watch these pre-shows because for some reason every time I click on them it doesn't work. So I usually end up missing at least a few minutes of it. And I actually got to see this whole thing. So for all the people that like to rag on me for not being able to watch it, I got you this week. Uh, I thought it was kind of a generic match, but I didn't really expect it to be that great. It's basically a Raw match. Any of these pre-show matches, they're never anything particularly fantastic. They're not going to give us a five-star match of the year as a pre-show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was a fine match. Didn't really care for it, especially given who was involved. I mean, I like Zack Ryder, but it's a true shame to see him lose to Jinder Mahal in the final moments of the match. Because remember, it was only a year ago that he made his surprise appearance at Survivor Series 2011, and he gave his finisher. He gave a Rough Rider to the United States champion at the time, Dolph Ziggler. He got a huge pop from the MSG crowd. A year later, he's in the pre-show of the event, losing to Jinder Mahal. So it's a true shame. But as far as the match itself goes, it was pretty predictable. It is beyond me as to why they're pushing 3MB so aggressively. I don't see all that much in them. I don't really mind them, but even still, I believe the real significant part about this matchup, aside from the extremely confusing booking, was the fact that the view count for the matchup was, I believe, at 4,000 people, even if that, which is extremely way down from their usual view count of the pre-show on YouTube and WWE.com, which is, I believe, is around 44,000. So I mean, you can see the jump, and that the fact that they switched the match so many times, and the fact that the feud wasn't all that strong going into it, maybe played a factor into it. I mean, they didn't really hype it at all on television, as far as I know, besides the website.
Yeah, they didn't give it any kind of time at all. It was just kind of 3 and B might wrestle this week, and you should probably check it out either at main event or at SmackDown or at the actual pay-per-view, and we'll update you when we can. They seem
Yeah,
more concerned with telling you that they had a certain amount of views with the Did You Know and all that kind of stuff than actually promoting their pay-per-view.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't blame them for not really promoting it. It's not like it was a big time matchup, not like main event. It was Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz, and I'm not saying that would happen on a pre-show. It's very possible that it could, but I mean, it's not like that kind of matchup where it's a big first time ever matchup and they didn't promote it. Then I would have been pissed. But this is only a mere tag team match that we've seen a couple times before this. And I mean, the feud, it makes sense as to why they had Santino and Ryder against 3MB. These two teams have been kind of against each other in recent months. So that makes sense. But aside from that, no one really gives a crap about any of these guys. So I don't really blame anyone for not tuning in. So that's fine.
It's a shame, isn't it, though? Because like you were saying with Zack Ryder last year, I remember I went to go see TLC, and I'm in the crowd, and everybody's going absolutely nuts the entire time. We want Ryder, and now 1 year later, because of that whole screwed up Kane angle, they just killed his character. And
Yeah, absolutely.
he's the best that he can do is teaming up with Santino and losing on a pre-show. It's terrible.
Absolutely.
Uh, the For anybody who doesn't know, the 3 and B, of course, won the match via pinfall. Jinder Mahal pinned Zack Ryder, and then Drew McIntyre decided to pose on the commentary table, and that was just awkward. But yeah, I don't really think anybody has spoken up about this match being anything other than this like generic saw it coming kind of a thing.
Yeah, completely agreed.
That should be it then for that. Next part, we will talk about the bonus elimination match, another match that they didn't promote ahead of time because they didn't realize that they were going to do it until probably 20 minutes before the pay-per-view. So part 6, if I remember correctly. No, we're on part 5. We will talk about that match, and we'll steamroll through the whole rest of this pay-per-view when we get to that.